Thank you. Yes.
Thanks for hanging out. We really appreciate it. And we have come to the last panel of the conference. So we've effectively structured this as a recap. And I will spend some time with our esteemed panelists today getting their thoughts on what they learned, what they're most excited about, and we'll have plenty of time also for you to ask questions. So my name is Steve Greenfield, as you can see up here. I'm the general partner of an early stage venture capital firm based in the US, but we're investing anywhere globally in early stage mobility related technology companies. So I hope after this trip, I will find and discover a whole bunch of new entrepreneurs in this area that we can be investing in. I'm very excited to be on stage with our esteemed panelists. First, I have with me Ahmad Ansari, the executive committee member from the AEMOB forum. We have Veronica, who's standing in, Veronica Yu, from the Public Transport Affairs Department. She's a project manager, is that correct? That's great, thank you very much for being here today and standing in. We've got John Marcus, a consultant and global industry expert, and Dr. Frank Himpel, the International Business and Economics Scholar from InStrat. So with that, let's start and just sort of give us, if you would, a recap. All of you have been on stage, some today, some yesterday. Give us a recap of what you presented as we set a sort of a foundation before we start looking forward into the future. Ahmed, if you'd like to start.
Thanks, Steve. It was a great honor and a pleasure to have all of you here contributing effectively to the event. And I think we have learned a lot from it. This is the very first version, and obviously we're going to repeat it again in the couple of years to come, inshallah. Okay. Now, I would say that there has been a great experience that we have gained from this event in terms of the legislations and regulations, where the different teams here contributed with their thoughts on how we can build the legal framework in order to make the EV or e-mobility generally put in full operation with certain aspects of safety and also risk-free use on our public roads. This is something that is so important to the public living generally that would also still need to evolve further and further. And I would definitely appreciate the effort that the MOT currently doing in Qatar to establish the full legal framework for the use of EV. E-mobility generally in the state of Qatar. We have also discussed how we can integrate e-mobility within smart cities. That was one of the panels I had the honor to moderate, where we discussed the different issues related to the best use of the available information and communication technology. As you may know, there are many certain technologies available here into the market for the perfect use in these smart cities, like the artificial intelligence, for instance, the digital twins, and the other infrastructure of information and technology to support the use of EVs generally in terms of data collection, especially live data capturing for the motions of those equipment on our local roads. Yet, needless to say, it was very important for us to see how we can educate our communities to better understand the benefits they are going to gain by going electrical rather than relying very much on the use of conventional ICE, or what I mean by that, the internal combustion engine vehicles. And I think following this event, we're going to meet with the authoritative and the statutory bodies here within this country to discuss the way forward on how we can outline all the recommendations that we have concluded from this event with them to interpret them into proper written guidelines, laws, whatever, for implementation in our communities. Thank you.
Thanks, Ahmed. I appreciate it very much. John, same question for you. When you were on your panel, what were the general themes that you were communicating?
Thanks, Steve. And welcome, everyone. I think it's a good success for this conference, and definitely, Ahmad, we need to do it again. A quick intro about myself. I basically spent the last 15 years developing autonomous driving and technologies across different suppliers. So if your car have any parking feature, I think by more than 80% you are using a technology that my team have developed. So our technology is in mostly all the brands except Tesla. They are doing everything by their own. Recently, in April, I started my startup, an AI startup called Pedima. Pedima means leap, actually, in Greek and in Latin. The focus here, it's a research lab for AI. AI have been there for ages. So we have been using AI in autonomous driving and in personalization inside the vehicle since ages. So the first AI team that I was leading was, I think, like 2005 or even before that. But what happened in the last couple of years with the Gen AI capabilities, it started to become really mature. So everybody is hearing about AI, but there is a statistics that I have shown yesterday that shows that in automotive and mobility industry, it is only used up to 14%, 1/4. That's too low compared to the capability level. So we discussed different use cases for AI in mobility. So the very, I would say, advanced state-of-the-art, the latest research using Gen AI, we are using this to shorten the time to market. So one of the very biggest problems most of the car makers have globally is two things. They need to have faster technology deployed, which means shorter time to market. Currently in Europe, we are talking about 40 months from requirement to production of a vehicle. And this is with the most of the global brands. And in China, it is significantly less, but it's still a significant amount of time. The second thing is it's costly. So right now, there is a lot of cost spent in R&D. Just to put this in some figures, automotive industry only, not the whole mobility, automotive only, we are spending 130 billion per year in R&D. That's a huge, gigantic number. And guess who pays for that? You guys. So the investors, but the investors, push the executives to offload this on the vehicle pricing. With AI, we can actually shorten the time to market and do a lot of activities automated, which is for free. So that will definitely help a lot. So that part came with the Gen AI. We actually calculated that 40 or 45% of an engineer time is spent in activities that are unrelated to feature development. He reviews standards or she reviews standards, they write test cases for their code and so on. And with Pedima, all of this can be automated and can be done actually overnight. So it's actually very, very advanced. Other use cases for AI that have been there since some time, I also covered that in my keynote, but just to raise it again, AI in autonomous driving. So we are using AI from level 2. So level 2 autonomous, we are using AI heavily. Level 3, it's, I think, 45% based on AI. And starting from level 4, there are two directions. One of them is based on AI, which is the mostly used. And the challenge of that one is actually legal challenge. Because when any accident or anything happen, usually the court have to check what happened. And with AI, you are making decisions spontaneously and not recorded. And so you cannot repeat the situation in front of a judge. So that's a challenge. And there is a conventional way that you teach the system every single situation in the globe. But with AI, it's widely used there in that area, and it's pretty mature. And we are seeing a lot of level 3 and level 4 even. So in the US, we have in Nevada, we have in California, definitely, in Germany, in highways, there are 2 brands actually that are authorized for level 3. And the process of homologation, it's pretty standard now. So we know, like, we have 3 or 4 versions of the homologations, one for Europe, one for China, one for America. The rest of the world is usually following one of those. And it's pretty safe. So I think we will see more from that in the next few years. We're also seeing AI in supply chain management, decision making, and analytics. So there are a lot of values that AI could bring to our society. It can definitely increase the quality of life. It can make a lot of things much cheaper. But also there are some, things that we have to take care about. The first is job displacement. And I believe at the point of time, because we are still at the very beginning of AI, we call the ANI, the narrow intelligence. So when we go to the next level of AI, which is called AGI, the general intelligence, which means that the AI can really replace any human task to a very large extent. And that's not far away, guys. That's like 2-3 years from now. And SGI, that means that the AI can outperform the best scientist in his field or her field. That's actually quite scary. Actually, science is defining that point of time in history or in the future, because it can happen again. It's called singularity, which means that we don't know what will happen after that. So when AI can perform tasks better than human, what we will do, nobody knows. That's the truth. But we know that there will be some job displacement. So I think policymakers and governments need to work around that. We need to teach ourselves first and the people how to be agile, how to learn new skills, how to utilize the AI to advance more and faster. Second thing is privacy. AI definitely is using data to get better. And guess whose data is that? Yours. And here, there is a lot of, gray area. We just seen that European Act have a new AI ethics and policies that came out last month. But I think a lot of governments need to review that because policy is an extremely important part. Last point that we need to take care about is bias and discrimination. So I remember when we started to speak about AI at the beginning, people were saying, we want to use the machine because the machine don't know how to bias. The machine doesn't have discrimination. But guess what? They got discrimination as well. They get bias as well. Because the AI is trained on data. And if the data are biased, the AI will be biased. So those are the 3 things that I think we as an individual, as a society, and governments definitely, we need to take care about. So that's pretty very much I covered in my keynote.
Great, thank you, John.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you, John. Frank, how are you doing?
Thank you so much, Ahmed, Steve, for having me. I appreciate. If I may add, what we see is that this is a very complex topic, and in every complex topic that we as humans touch, we require dialogue to talk about ways how to reduce the complexity in the topic. Because there is no uniform right way, there is no uniform only way. There is various ways how to address a topic like this. There is various solutions to a problem. So we as societies need to come together and actually meet and discuss. And this is what we are doing here, and this is an excellent opportunity. On another hand, what we've also seen is that this whole topic of autonomous e-mobility is involving high-value industries. This is high-value industries. It is about knowledge economy, and this perfectly suits the Qatar National Vision 2030. So the place to choose a dialogue platform like this place here in Doha is perfectly suited because it complements, again, knowledge-based economies with high-value industries. On maybe just a third comment, what we also have seen is that there is multidisciplinary approaches that we require, be it from the technical side, from the engineering side, from the commercial side, from the legal side. And in order for us to advance the topic like this, we may need to find a common language across the disciplines. We may need to find common concepts to discuss across legal, technical, engineering, consumer behavior issues. because there is technology pull issues in it. The technology will find the market in a way, and there is consumer demand aspects in it where consumers will require certain technologies to be advanced. So this is a very fascinating and exciting time. And from my side, I'm very happy that we advance on this journey.
Awesome. Thank you, Frank. Veronica, same question for you. The general themes that you'd like to communicate.
Thank you, Steve. So first of all, on behalf of the Ministry of Transport, I would like to thank everyone who been able to come to Doha and to attend this event. So we, as a ministry, we're very grateful for your attendance and to come to discuss this complicated subject that covers a lot of aspects of it. Coming from the public transport department, we say we're focusing on how important it is to have the connected, integrated public transport network. Obviously, when we are ready to implement the autonomous vehicle, we would like to add it to the fleet and make sure that we are ready to integrate it, for example, into our app, in order for people to be easily integrated between non-AV and AV. They won't really be seeing what is the difference between the modes that they are using. And also, the important points have been touched on by the experts already, that we are already aligned with Qatar National Vision 2030. And when we did the AV strategy, we have found that, yes, we are totally aligned with the 4 pillars of the vision. And this is the way that we're looking to progress and continuously working with all our stakeholders and industry experts to implement this. And today we have announced that there are a few tenders that are going to come up in relation to this subject. First of all, the implementation of AV strategy. And then there's the electric vehicle incentives, and also, very importantly, the homologation center as well in Doha. So we are really looking forward to moving this forward, certainly on this sector.
That's great. Thanks, Veronica. So, Ahmad, I'm going to come back to you now. Was there a moment over the last 2 days that you'll take back with you as being the highlight of the conference? What's really stuck with you? What's going to resonate? What's that one highlight moment from the conference that sticks with you? And I'm going to ask the rest of you as well, so be ready to answer the same question.
Suffer and hardship. Well, I was really impressed with the sort of mix of backgrounds and culture we had in this event, to be honest. We had people from almost all over the world. We had more than 40 experts contributed to this event. And we always had the open-minded discussions. That was the real value which we have gained from this event, where we had the local expertise meeting with the international expertise, trying to tackle things, discuss things, and tackle them in a such way that can bring a better prosperity and better living to our communities. We stayed away from the commercial, by the way. We always looked at things from ethical and, practical point of view rather than focusing on commercial gains. That was something really of a very great value we have accomplished here. And obviously, the contribution and the participations of certain stakeholders from the market itself, especially our sponsors, needless to say, also contributed very much effectively to the success of this event. Now, one important point I would like to make here, I think we have made the understanding on how we could possibly build an international platform that we can all rely on to exchange views, experiences, thoughts, you name it, in order to plan our way forward for a better and brighter future. And Qatar can be that platform as a destination for that platform. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you, Ahmad. John, same question for you. What are you going to take back home when you fly out of here as the one thing that really resonates with you?
The weather.
Yeah. That was easy.
Very good weather, beautiful weather. I will add just to what Ahmad just said. So first, it's a broader. It doesn't only cover automotive. It doesn't only cover the government and the application. It got very wider, vision, and that was actually quite stunning. I like that. So I was impressed by the panel before us about the air mobility and the drones and the mini helicopters. It's actually very nice. I'm excited about the topic. And you will not usually find such a topic in a kind of like, a very traditional automotive industry. Also the mix between the local businesses and some international and global speakers that also add to the depth of the discussion that we have. Second point is when I have seen the presentation from the Ministry of Transportation, actually I like the thought, and it's a thoughtful process. Like we know what we want to do, we also plan how we're going to do it. It's not left to coincidence, a chance, or something like this. And there is a good way to do it. Like we're focusing on homologation. We have checked what worked and what didn't work in other countries. We are not very rushed to go for level 4, which is, by the way, fantastic. Nobody wants to go to level 4. Guys, cars are beautiful. Just drive them. So we don't want to drive cars when it is like a commute to work or a boring ride or a traffic jam and so on. So that I really liked. A couple of sessions and keynotes that stuck with me, like move people, not cars. That's also a very good perspective in mobility. That adds on to the mass mobility as a service. So in 10 years from now, cars is just a means of transportation. So we need to think about it in that way. Thank you.
That's great. Thanks, John. Frank, some question for you?
Just a few thoughts, maybe. It's very impressive to see this impressive lineup of speakers, as Ahmed said. Also, very nice response from the audience. Also, the questions in the Q&A parts, because this is meant to be a dialogue also with the audiences in the different sessions. And as this is the starting point of getting something started, getting a topic started, and what I can feel, or what I learned talking to a lot of the attendees and the other panelists and speakers, is that this has created some momentum. Some momentum in the topic, and I'm very happy to see that. And I'm very happy to see this momentum being started here. And as Ahmed said, this is a hub. Let this place be a hub to develop the topic from here further on. And as we see in many topics also, Doha can be a wonderful place for multilateral dialogue on many platforms, and also on this topic.
That's great. Thank you, Frank. Veronica, same question for you.
So in the last few days, I think for me personally, what I saw the most exciting is on and off the stage. We have been able to have a lot of fruitful to productive discussions. There were a lot of people approaching me off the stage, having from different sectors having the discussion. So it just shows how wide this topic is and how much we need to keep talking to each other, keeping that momentum on to further explore and find the best way how we can implement the next stage. And also what's exciting was from yesterday on day 1, where the ministry has launched the first set of electric school bus, and the autonomous bus tour was also very successful. Apart from that, I also want to jump on to tomorrow, which is day 3, that we will have a tour of the Lucelle bus station, and as well as the port as well. So I think that kind of summarizes how much variety we have in this event and enable everyone to communicate and talk to each other about this wide topic.
A great point. That's a great point. So I want each of you now to abstract yourself, and I'm going to bring you 10 years into the future. So we're back up on stage here 10 years from now. It's 2034. We all have a few more wrinkles. right? And we've reconvened, and from a mobility perspective, what's the one thing, this is your opportunity to make a bold prediction. What's the one thing that might be surprising to you 10 years from now? What's your bold prediction when you're sitting back up here and I ask you to reflect something that you wouldn't have expected 10 years ago that has transpired in 2034?
Okay, I'm not a star reader anyway. It's too difficult to predict, to be honest. But I really wish we enjoy good stability in our region here. As you may have noticed that there are lots of destabilization, I say, and instability in our region from political point of view. But nonetheless, we're caring very much for our own development, you know, and our government here in Qatar is investing heavily in, you know, upgrading all aspects of life and infrastructure here within the country. And I hope nothing going to hinder us from achieving our goals of you know, fully complying with the pillars of the 2030 national vision. I think that's a very difficult question, to be honest, to answer, Steve. I am above 60 now, by the way. I look young. I really hope to live that long to see how
you'll
the future,
be in your prime in 10 years.
You know how the future is going to look like by then. I mean, 10 years from now. But definitely, I would say that e-mobility is growing. It's going fast, and throughout my life, I have seen lots of developments, new technologies coming up. I must say, I myself, proudly speaking, contributed to certain construction technologies. I wrote policies, because that's my background, basically. I used to be the technical director of the Public Works Authority here. I contributed to digitalizing of the construction industry. And I hope I'm going to see some real, tangible outcomes coming out very soon of that. And perhaps similarly, I would hopefully enjoy seeing real development coming up into our public transportation by going green, by going electrical. Let's say yes. The common word here we say inshallah. Thank you very much.
That's great. Thank you, Ahmad. John, same question for you. Bold prediction. We're fast forward 10 years. What's going to surprise you?
So actually, in my keynote, and just a couple of minutes ago, I just said that from a scientific point of view, it's singularity. Nobody can predict that. But I'll follow the thought. So basically, I hope that with a lot of technology advancements, it make our life more enjoyable. We spend it the way that is more meaningful for us, peaceful, and still energetic. So I think the quality of life will definitely increase. I think there will be a lot of things that take time now. It will be done in a blink of an eye in the future. I think we will be, hopefully, safer from different aspects. And related to Qatar, the plans of 2030 and Qatar as a state, because it's controlled, it's very modern. There is a lot of digital infrastructure. I can see a very prosperous hub going in the future, especially if the government is pushing for a lot of investments and bringing global talents in Qatar. We could see that Qatar could turn to a tech hub also in the region. One more like a wish, and not like a prediction. I hope with all those advancements and the ease of life, people will still be productive. So, you know, just if something will not take as much time as in the past, we still should think how we could be more productive, how we can give back to society, how we can contribute more to countries, societies, and economies. Thanks.
That's great.
Steve.
Thank you, John. Good predictions. Frank, same question. Let's fast forward 10 years.
Well, honestly speaking, I'm not sure if I exactly know or if I'm able to pretend what will happen 10 years from now. But you know, out of my stomach, maybe just a rule of thumb assessment. We've been talking a lot about technology, and this topic is, as a matter of fact, a lot about technology and all those surrounding issues. But I think at the end of the day, even in 10 years, it is about connecting humans. It is about mobility that connects us as human beings. And this technology is aimed to make life for us as human beings easier, to support us, and it is still about humans. So at the end of the day, it might surprise us to see that there is still an emotional side to transportation, is still a cognitive dimension to travel, a cognitive dimension to mobility, because we as human beings also need to accept a technology, we need to like to use it, and maybe we as those who are, maybe, I guess all of us are older than 20 years, we may have some reservations. We may look at it as something where we say, oh, the glass is half empty rather than half full. But our children, when they see the technology, when they see the potential, when they see the opportunity, they might say the glass is half full. So maybe we will see our children using it more and more, and they take it from there and they develop it even further. That is a wish maybe that we can pose at that point.
That's great, Frank. Thank you. Veronica, same question. Let's fast forward 10 years. What's your bold prediction? What will you be surprised about?
I don't know whether this is a surprise, but I'm hoping if 10 years later we're all still sitting on this stage having this forum, maybe we will all be traveling to this forum via autonomous vehicle one way or another, whether that's flying, whether that's taking a vehicle within Qatar. So all of us will be traveling in this way. And as in daily life, yes, the next generation are going to use autonomous vehicle more accessible as well. It's like how we have moved from horses to cars. When you look back, you're like, how did they travel in those times? And then it might be 10 years when we're sitting here. Why are we so reliant on cars, say 10 years ago? That might be something that I'm thinking of. And if we are freeing up more time, not driving from one place to another, we have more time to ourselves, quality of life is much better. Maybe to your original comment, we won't have as much wrinkles as you predicted.
We'll figure that out as well. That's great. Let's do that. Okay, before we go to the audience questions, I have one last question for all of you. So Ahmad, I will start with you again. So if you would, take the opportunity now to challenge the audience. So challenge the audience. So look out at the audience and challenge them to do one thing. If you could have them do one thing over the next year between now and the next conference to help further and accelerate this adoption of autonomy and electrification, what would that be? How would you want to challenge the people out there? What would you want them to focus on?
I don't see many youngsters here. Anyway. Change, adapt. This is something that, very important. I started my working career back to 1984 as a junior engineer or a trainee, I would say, okay? And I ended up my working career with the public sector as a technical manager or director, as I said, a very top senior guy within an organization. If I would have not developed myself throughout those almost 38 years to catch up, continuous education, something very important, okay? If I didn't do that, I would have not got there. So I would apply that to the way we live, to the way we, do things, to the way we, have to adjust to catch up with technology. So if we don't do that, we'd be left behind, okay? So I bet all of you, if you don't do that, you would be left behind and you wouldn't catch up with your own children. They would really go too fast ahead of you and you would be left behind, dragging to catch up with them. I think that's going to be a real challenge for you. to change and adapt your style of life to simply cope and comply with the advancement, the day-to-day advancement of technology in our life, which part of is the e-mobility.
Great. Great advice. Great advice for the audience. John, same question. How would you challenge our audience over the next year?
Good question, Steve. I usually don't challenge audience, but I will try this time. So basically, adding to the very major point that Ahmad just said, change. It's really to the point. But I will add a couple of more. Basically, don't be afraid of technology. So usually what we see is people wait too long until they start to have a technology ready, reliable, and then use it. No, guys, start using it even if it is not perfect. Because the only way to make technology perfect is by using it. So if you don't use it, first, you are being afraid of something which is not mature enough, and it will evolve very quickly, and out of a sudden you will feel yourself like it's a completely different thing than what you thought, and it will take time to learn. But no, just engage. When the very first large language models came out, I'm not sure if a lot of you know that or not, but actually there were people behind those models that checked the answers before it come to you. And in many cases, there were even answers written by humans. And in many, many startups, that was done in a very manual way. Autonomous driving. If we started by autonomous driving, and the car is performing good in 8 out of 10 situations. Yeah, in autonomous driving, it's safety, so I understand it's a bit different. But still, it needs data to be trained. People need to try it under some constraints, under some legalization. You can define some areas in which people can try it. But if it's not tried, the feedback loop is the most important thing for the technology. And for us, as users of the technology as well, we need to start our journey early. So don't be afraid of using the technology. And second thing, agility. So don't only be afraid of a change, but change fast. So people don't judge, actually, basically, in technology. In technology, it is easy. Use it. If you don't like it, say why. Interact with it. Learn it quickly. If there is... right now, the technology is even becoming easier and easier and easier. So that's will be my couple of points. Thanks.
Great, thank you, John. Frank, same question. Challenge the audience.
Well, maybe to just add one point is just maybe try to reflect in your everyday life, in whatever you do, you go shopping, you go places. Just reflect a minute on those everyday activities. Situations where this autonomous mobility could actually help you. What if the situation that I'm in now was in a situation where I was supported by autonomous mobility? Just to think about it, to reflect about it. It's maybe not challenging you because I am not to challenge you as an audience anyway, but maybe to encourage you and ask you to reflect on it and to see the potential behind it. And of course, there is always maybe many reasons why not to adopt the technology and to say, oh, this is, maybe there is. Yes, there is always many reasons why not to do things. But if you try to reflect on what it can do for you in your daily life and to think about it, then maybe there is a point where you will see that there is a lot of potential actually in it, and the glass is not half empty. It is half full.
Great advice, Veronica. You have the last word here before we do questions, so please challenge the audience.
So what I would ask that if all of you could just go away from this forum and talk to someone, even one person, about what you have here from this forum, and just have a discussion about this topic. There might be different views from different people to say, yes, I I think it might work. Some may be very against it, saying maybe it's not safe, maybe they have concern, they don't trust vehicles without driver. It's understandable, but I think the challenge is just to have that conversation, understand different point of view. Maybe you can share also some of the information you learn from this forum, and just spread the news, and everyone get to know a bit more. Then the trust is built. Then the community will be more readily for the autonomous vehicle when it comes to us more widely. And also, I would suggest that when you have the chance, whether it's in your home country or when you're traveling, if there is an autonomous trial or something is already in operation, do go and try it, experience it. That would be my challenge.
That's great. Great advice. Very good advice. All right, let's open it up to the audience. We've got a mic. If you've got questions for the panelists. Got a question here?
Gentlemen, as long as civilization is expanding, I will talk about the prediction for the next 10 years. As long as the civilization is expanding, technology will expand in parallel. As technology reached its peak, now we are almost to the peak of the technology. So what we are expecting for the next year is matching in parallel between expanding of civilization and usage of the technology. So this is which encourages us that we need to add more users in this country and everywhere to use our technology. About you, Mr. Steve, about your question, that prediction of the after 10 years, yourself maybe after 10 years comes to this conference with a drone. You may come with a drone. Thank you. Not by car.
So perspective for many of you, I mean, one, has technology peaked? In the next 10 years, are we going to see huge breakthroughs? And if so, in what areas? And the other conversation about adoption.
Well, to be honest, I said this in probably 1984 or 85 with some professors from the university where I studied back there in the UK. I think we have everything. We stopped. Why? I think we got everything, nice cars, whatever, even those days. And one of them said to me, I can't remember his name now, "No, Ahmed, it's not going to happen. No, this is just the start. You can never tell what's going to happen in the future." I mean, I remember those phones, the old phones with dialing, and then they changed to press buttons, and then, you know, the beepers, the pagers, and then we had the standard analog, you know, those mobile phones, how we started the big size, and now with the iPhones, and I can assure you, even after 10 years, you will see different types of phones, okay? I've seen one comedy, maybe you've seen it yourself, with this guy using fingers as a you know, a mobile phone. Okay, maybe this is too extreme, but you can never predict what technology can bring to our life, how it's going to evolve within the next 10 years. And subhanallah, you know, we always have a perfect example in our Quran. وَعَلَّمَ الْإِنسَانَ مَا لَمْ يَعْلَمْ. As you know, there is no limit for science, there is no limit for knowledge. I think it will never reach its peaks as long as the human being keep investing in developing and working hard to, you know, on R&D and other things. Thank you.
Just one line of thinking maybe to your question, if I understand it correct. Is yes, we as human beings on the earth, we grow as a population, which leads to sustainability issues, and which leads to us as human beings think about and reflect about ways in which to do whatever we do on this planet in a more sustainable way. And innovation can help us. Innovation can help us to come up with more sustainable solutions, how we as a world society organize an ever-growing number of human beings on the planet. And this type of technology might help in doing that with the potentials that it has. If we manage it correctly, if we try to develop it correctly, in ways of organizing dialogue, how to do it. It's a normative topic as well as it's a topic that is required from us from sustainability. So is one aspect to it that where we are required by means of sustainability to come up with solutions that make our lives more in line with what the planet can handle for us as human beings to grow in larger numbers.
Great. Other questions from the audience? Here, on the far right.
So, thank you so much for the conversation and also I think the insightful question about what should we expect in the next 10 years. A lot of conversation has been around, land mobility during this conference as well. But do you believe that the next frontier, which is really the space mobility, that has also come a long way in the last at least 10 years? Any insights or any thoughts on to where that might be in terms of interstellar travel or interplanetary travel, or even just space as a medium of travel from one place to another within our Earth to Earth journey itself? Any thoughts on where that might be in the next 10 years or next 20 years? And should this forum become a forum to actually advance that as well as we go forward?
Do we add space?
As long as Elon Musk is willing to go.
It's the Autonomous E-Mobility Space Forum in 10 years. But all kidding aside, any thoughts on space?
Obviously, as long as Elon Musk want to go, as simple as that. Look, I'm not sure how to tackle it, but I believe that there are right now already some space journeys. And with technology, with time and innovation, things become cheaper, which means more affordable, which means bigger sector of the society can enjoy it. So I think, and especially it is actually written in a very, very beautiful way in the biography of Elon Musk, how he actually restructured SpaceX, how he really make the space rockets very affordable, very cheap. He actually have a great philosophy in doing that. And I believe it should be widely adapted outside even the space industry. But even in the space industry, just by giving it some time, like 10 years would be more than enough. A lot of things would be more affordable, and that will allow us to enjoy such a thing. How and when, I don't know. But basically, the marriage between AI and production is really, really great. So a couple of days ago, I just read a paper between, I think, AutoCAD or something like this and General Motors. They are trying to figure out new ways in production to make very lightweight components in the car. What lightweight mean? Less money to produce it, more efficient car, because it's not that heavy. And if you will apply the same concept on space, that is even with a huge multiplier. So I think parts of the technology are already here. It just, to becoming more democratized, it might need time. So I think, Steve, we can add that to the question of what will happen in the next 10 years. We will not come with a drone. Maybe we will come from a spacecraft. Just I spent my summer vacation in Apollo. I think it will be too cold for me.
And their thoughts on space? No? Great question. Thank you. Any last questions here before we wrap? All right, well, thank you. A round of applause for our panelists, please. Thank you all. And thanks to all of you for sticking it out, and thanks for the organizers. Let's have a round of applause for all the people over here who organized the conference. Great, thank you very much.